I feel great. You're crushing this assignment.
Thank you.
I'm really impressed. That's why I was like, oh no, I'm definitely making this a 2-parter. My producer's going to just have to deal with two files with your name on them. Okay. Oh, hi. You're listening to Service from Hell, a podcast featuring people that are currently in customer service positions or the lucky few that got out and all of the good, bad, and irritating things that go along with that work. I'm actor and writer Kate Gaffney, and am uniquely qualified to discuss this as I used to work at a very busy and very popular comedy club in Los Angeles, and at least one of you listening right now has probably grabbed me and told me you were ready to order when I was running around like a crazy person. So let's eat. I'd like to welcome our guest, Nick Nunez. Nick is a comedy producer, writer, and reluctant creative who was born and raised in Manhattan, boo, and against all odds knows how to drive. So, Nick, last week we wrapped on a story of you talking about taking shots in the middle of the night at your door person job.
Yes.
Did that ever backfire on you where someone was trying to come in and you were absolutely at the bar?
Yes.
Tell me right now.
But here's the thing.
Okay.
At that hour, they were also drunk. So there was a real, there's no rickety 78-year-old woman who lives there who complains about things in the morning shift that is going to also be coming in at 3 a.m. when you decide to go across the street to the cash-only bar. So there was one guy who had the most expensive unit in the building.
Wait, how much was it a month? And were these owned properties?
Yeah,
okay,
so
they were.
he owned it. Yeah, so I know that the cheapest apartment at the time was $5 million.
Fuck all, Nick, are you being serious?
Yes.
The cheapest apartment.
Yeah.
Even for Manhattan standards, that's this must have been the nicest fucking building.
You should check out what it's like now. It's very dystopian. But
wait, how much would it go for now with these apartments, would you say?
Oh boy. So I don't know how to do this math in my head, but I know that the guy who I locked out of the building was like a party animal from Spain.
Of course.
And always had just like an entourage of beautiful people, of just all like it was like a real United Colors of Benetton type catalog situation. And he had the duplex on the ground floor, and I looked it up, and I think the last time I saw it, it was valued at $20 million.
Shut the fuck.
So he was never there too.
This was like a party house for him. This $5 million duplex was a party house for this dude.
The $20 million.
What, 5 at the time though?
Well, no, five was the cheapest apartment in the building.
See, I wasn't listening.
Yeah,
okay,
got it. Yeah,
it was valued at 20.
Yeah, back then, because when I saw him come in with an entourage of people, and he told me he had just flown back from Spain and whatever. He was one of the guys I would let talk to me because he was fascinating.
Yeah,
I let all of them talk to me. It was my job, and what am I going to do? I'm trying to act tough. I'm not. If you talk to me, I will.
You have arthritis. All right.
Yeah, exactly. I cannot fight that well, but I can take a beating. So if you get tired easily, this is an ad for me getting beat up.
BDSM is a real thing. Not here to judge you.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So you let him talk to you.
Yeah. So he had flown back in and whatever, and he was said that I think that he wanted to list his apartment because he was barely there. So, or he had already done it. All I know is that I went on Zillow on my phone and looked at the unit.
As you would have.
And it was worth $20 million.
Fuck me.
And I was like, ooh. I was like, the fact that you have that and you decide to be elsewhere. If I'm one of those people that if rent cost me $2,000 a month, I would never leave.
Never. I wouldn't go on vacation.
I would touch my face against all the walls and really feel like I would have opinions on the ceiling. I would notice things because I would want to get I just spent 5 weeks in a hotel. I became one with that hotel.
I bet you did.
Not in a gross way, just in a loving way. So yeah, I guess in a gross way. But you just gotta feel like you're a part of it. And this guy's like, oh man, fuck this place. It's got 2 floors. What?
I gotta go somewhere else for my jollies.
It's just and I don't know. And I just looked at him man, I don't know. I would look at him and just be like, I don't know if I just want to party with you or
punch you in the face,
assassinate you because he definitely had enough money to. Let's just avoid that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was he the billionaire in the building?
I believe he was. So there may have been 2 then because there was one I knew about that was up top, and this guy definitely had billionaire vibes or crypto millionaire vibes.
Oh, really?
So like, I don't know, maybe he had to sell it because he was losing everything, but you know what? He was still living a better life than the actual billionaire that lived there. So
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, so that job was your least favorite.
Yeah,
How long did you last?
Oh man, I think like 6 months or something like that.
Jesus, you stayed for 6 months. And so shingles is what got you out of the job.
Yeah.
So you would have stayed longer if not for shingles.
Well, yeah. Well, so at that point, I had been really eyeing the luxurious world of getting a taxi license in New York.
Oh, good transition, my friend.
Thank you.
Okay.
I was really happy with myself all while transitioning. I was like, nailed it. I've listened to a podcast before. Yeah, now I fucked it all up.
Yeah, no, you've not listened to this one. You've listened to other people's podcasts.
Yeah, I've heard
Joe
of
Rogan.
podcasts.
Have you heard of Joe Rogan?
Yeah, my therapist loves him.
Okay, great. So you were looking at that time at getting on God's green earth would you want to be a cab driver?
Because at that time, yellow cab drivers were being pushed out. They still are. Now it's kind of getting equalized. It's actually an extremely tragic situation where, you get these extremely expensive medallions to be a cab driver in New York. They used to be a safe investment. Then Uber came in and kind of put everything on its heels. But for people from LA and other parts of the world where all you have to do is just have a car and just like, not immediately be a serial killer. But even then, I don't know.
But like have the vibes.
Yeah. If you want to be an Uber driver in New York, you had to get a New York City cab driver's license, which is a vigorous process and costs a ton of money.
I want to interrupt because I think people might think you're joking. Nick is being so dead ass serious, and you should 100% just flip flop into the Googs or whatever you use for your search engine and actually look. And this is why Uber coming in really did decimated generations of families. And this is a comedy podcast, so we're really crushing it right now.
Yeah, this is hilarious stuff.
Yeah, but you should for sure look it up because it is actually insane what people would go through to be able to be a licensed cab driver because they wouldn't allow for anybody but a licensed yellow cab driver, right? For a long time.
Yeah. So I had to go to cab school, and half the class was like, I'm getting a yellow cab, and then like the other half, which eventually turned to 3/4, were like, we're just going to drive for Uber.
But you still needed a license to do that. You still
needed, yeah.
So why would it kill the people that had already had the yellow cab? Like why aspire for the yellow cab license?
I have no idea.
Oh.
I like a lot. Well, so some of the people that were, one guy in particular I spoke to who wanted to drive a yellow cab just because, and I guess to a degree he was right. He was like, you're still cutting out the middleman a lot in these transactions. So like you're still getting paid more, like even though there are fewer people hailing yellow cabs now. But also he had a medallioned yellow cab in his family. So his dad was a yellow cab driver. So
could you transfer those?
I'm not entirely sure. It seemed like he thought so that's the thing. Once I got involved with this, I realized, this is a horrifically corrupt system that not only bilks people out of a lot of money, but also kind of targets new immigrants in the country.
Not kind of.
With not a lot of recourse, who see all these bonuses to drive for, a place like Uber or Lyft or whatever, and then get caught up in these very prohibitively expensive kinds of rentals. Because once you get your license and all of that, you have to get a specifically plated car. That's why if you're in New York, you see every Uber or Lyft starts with a T on their license plate.
What?
It's an easy way to tell if that's just a Camry you're trying to get into or if it's your Uber.
Wow.
So yeah, I've seen a lot of drunk people could avoid that. Just look for the T, unless it's a custom plate. I'm not going to get into this. I do have a podcast called Cab Talk. There's no prizes, just times where I've driven one and times where I've been in them. That's actually,
and every episode's 4.5 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
Really,
it was like, so I once took a cab to JFK. And actually, I did once take a cab to JFK and had a red light. The guy just turns to me and says, hey, don't tell anybody this, but I always have $1,000 cash on me. And I was like, cool, I never will tell a soul.
Also, so now you're saying it on a podcast, but also what a weird thing.
What a weird flex. I was like, are you trying to get me to fight you?
Yeah, I could have taken the subway. Isn't the JFK the one you could take the subway to, or at least the bus
I mean, look, you could figure out a Yeah.
There's a workaround.
Yeah.
Wait, go back. Okay, so I just want people to understand, even though they're gonna search this, how much is it like roughly for just like the cab school and the medallion before you're even given a car?
Okay.
How much are you in?
So the medallions, I don't know a lot about the medallions for the cars, but I know that those could cost up to $250,000.
That's what I've heard.
In order to get your license and do all that stuff, you're going to spend roughly $2,500. And then in order to get a car plated for TLC, that will run you between $2,500 and like $5,000.
So if you're not getting a medallion right now, you're looking at roughly $7,500 in.
Yeah, to get started. So
before you even buy a car.
Yeah.
So you don't even have the car yet.
Yeah.
You just
So
have
like, yeah, exactly. So that's like the way they get most people is like they do week-to-week rentals of plated cars. But you could do those like on a person-to-person basis. So it would typically have to be somebody else who drives a cab. And you could do that for about $300 a week. But they have drivers at the like cab school. Like they have like booths for all these apps. And they're just like, we will lease you a new car for $700 a week. And you have to sign a 3-year contract.
Shut the fuck up.
And then you own it. But by that point, in order to drive enough to make the ends meet to pay for the rental every week, you will put a certain amount of miles on the car that will be unacceptable for the app within 3 years. So you would have to get a new car. So people are like, even with me, I was paying around $400 a week.
Nick.
I drove Monday through Friday for the rental and then Saturday and Sunday for profit.
So you were literally only able to make payments to or earn money towards rent, food, gas, and whatever on Saturdays and Sundays.
Right.
That means only 8 days out of the month were you actually making money.
Yeah. So
Nick.
yeah. And then I'm just sitting here like, wow, imagine if I had like people to support. Like there's a reason why there were this was before Uber put restrictions on how long you could drive every day. You know, they used to not tell you how long the drive would take. So
some people were doing like what, 20-hour shifts?
Yeah. In order to make, and they were just like, just sleep in the car and piss in a bottle. And I was like, well, I have to pee all the time. And like,
and
it's
that's
insane.
Yeah. Wait, so how long were you doing that?
I only did it for 4 months because I got.
That's an eternity.
Yeah. I got like 700 rides under my belt, which is nothing to people who are hustling all the time with it. But it was also a tough time because they were giving so many promos to be an Uber driver that sometimes you'd be at a red light and you'd only see Ubers and you would be driving for like 30 minutes without a single ride.
Oh,
and you're
such
like,
a
oh my
waste.
God.
And was it your personal vehicle?
No.
So that's right, because you said you were, but the 400 was the rental towards how did you not get stuck into a 3-year contract?
Well, I just did the promo at the beginning for like about a month until like it ran out. And then I found they have like message boards for TLC drivers, and I just found a guy who was willing to rent out his 2010 Prius, one of my favorite cars.
You're serious? Do you really love the 2010 Prius?
Well, I formed a bond with that car.
Oh, okay.
There was like a lot of people I argued with in there, so. It was fun. But so I found a guy who would do it just week to week and for like $325 with his thing. So I was like,
so he give you a $75 break?
Yeah, he was a really
great
guy.
Yeah, what a hero.
A hero to the movement.
Now I want to go backwards a little bit. So what about the car insurance? So if you're running a TLC, if you're in that
the
pool,
insurance is covered. So they
is.
make it seem like
liability only.
Hey, guess what?
We're covering all of it, baby.
Yeah, but the most like messed up thing that I learned was that if you get into an accident as a cab driver and people are hurt, you cannot drive until that whole thing is cleared. So even if like somebody wasn't really injured but wants to try to sue for money or something like that, it could sometimes take years.
Nick.
Sometimes take years for a case to be closed, and they can't drive until that's cleared. So that's why if you've ever seen a cab driver like hit somebody and come out and beg for like, there's no damage, oh my God, just let it go. Like it's literally their livelihood on the line. So it was just the kind of thing I was like, I need to get out of this as quickly as possible. You got into it because you thought it'd be like a fun little way to like, you could get stories out of it and get all the Uber bonuses. And then you just realize, oh man, people who don't have the option to walk away from this
Holy shit.
are just trapped in one of the worst, and this was before tipping was involved. You could actually get in trouble if you accepted cash tips.
What?
Like they would be like, oh yeah, we have like Uber employees that would try to, and also the TLC had like their own, like I got so many violations while driving because if you have TLC plates, they know you have to pay those. So like they're like easy ticket.
Are you shitting me?
Yeah, because you're not going to fight it if you really like need to stay on the road. I
Shout
guess.
out to protecting and serving. What a gift. What a gift to us all.
ACAB involves TLC cops.
What does TLC mean? Did you say
The
this already?
Taxi and Limousine Commission, which is the only time I really enjoyed Mike Bloomberg was on his way out of office as mayor. He talked to the TLC commissioner and accidentally said on a hot mic, I'm going to destroy your whole fucking empire on his way out. Something like that.
Amazing.
I wish he would have followed through on that because
Definitely
it's like, yeah, they're all like con artists. I'm like, yeah, but they really leave the art in. You know, it's an artful con, those TLC people.
Wait,
yeah.
so now I just want to point out the lengths to which people will go who are called to do something creative and are so desperate to do anything else because in Nick's own written bio, he did say, if y'all listened last week, he is a reluctant creative. This is the most reluctance I have ever, like I'll get in my own way a lot.
Yeah.
I'm reluctantly trying to not be successful. But what I don't understand, Nicholas, how you had a degree. No, this is not to shade anybody without a degree. You had a fucking college degree, Nick.
Yeah.
What were you were doing jobs for new immigrants?
Yeah.
Like what?
Well, you know, I also got my degree at a time where like all that meant it was like being a homeowner, but you bought it right before the bubble collapsed or
so
bubble burst.
yeah.
It's like, yeah, I became a homeowner because banks were like, fuck it, we'll do whatever now. Like that was, I remember I had to finish college in a hurry. Like I crammed like 2 semesters into one.
Nick, that's why the Adderall kicked in. I mean, my God.
No, 100%. Well, you know, like, it was fun also to like, you know, when you have like a horrible ADHD, it's fun to overbook yourself because it really keeps you on task.
Yeah, it sure does. And where'd you go to school again?
Fordham University. I actually started off at St. Peter's University. I transferred out and they made a run in basketball last year. So shout out to the Peacocks. I'm always loyal until you lose. And then I go back to Fordham. And by the way, not giving you guys money. I'm not seeing money off this podcast. Stop asking. I am
pay you back.
So in debt because of you.
Shout out.
Yeah, shout out for them. Third best in the city.
In the land.
Yeah, in the land. What land? New York.
What land?
Yeah,
New York.
sure.
The only land according to all of y'all. Okay, so wait. So you have a college degree at this point. So why aren't you? So you just couldn't get hired doing
it was
weird shit?
So when I was at the shitty, if you listened last week, at the shitty copywriting place that whatever, I was making so little money, and I had come from before that. I was working at Fordham at a computer lab, making $400 a month.
Shut the fuck up,
And then when my
Nick.
student loans came in, they wanted $1,200 a month for the next 40 years.
Eat my entire ass.
Yeah,
that's rent.
Yeah,
not now.
exactly.
But that used to be rent.
Yeah, I mean, I used to be rent back in the good old days.
Back in the day.
Yeah. And so every job I got, it was just did not like I took out these student loans, and both my parents are like, I have a first generation mom and a immigrant who was homeless dad, and they did not know about this kind of stuff. So when they were told about student loans, I remember being 17 and just being like, yeah, your kid's gonna graduate from this school, have a 6-figure job as soon as he comes out of college, pay off this loan in 10 years, and I have never like come close to that kind of money.
Also, you had a fucking degree in English.
In English, yeah. And my favorite interaction with somebody after like I couldn't make that payment. I had somebody from Sally Mae. Shout out Sally Mae. Never get your loans from them.
Facts.
Yeah, God.
So
oh man,
facts.
if Russia, if you're listening to this and you just want to
hack that system, boo boo.
Yeah, I was gonna say bomb Wilkes-Barre. Pennsylvania, where
I can't let that be aired.
You
didn't mean
yeah,
that.
no, I don't mean that. My parents bought a house in the Poconos. I would hate it if
Fancy.
Russia bombed them. Yeah, don't bomb us, guys. Don't bomb us, bro. But no, so
Hashtag no bomb.
Yeah, this guy at Sally Mae was like, why would you take out a loan that you knew you couldn't pay back?
But suckers, shut up. Shut up.
And I told him, well, hold on. And I was 17. I told you guys everything. I told you that I was an English major, creative writing minor, came from high school with a C average, and then my grandma who lives off of Social Security is my co-signer.
This is on
you
y'all.
guys are banking professionals. How am I supposed to know?
This ain't on me.
I thought this was like going to the doctor, and the doctor's like, yeah, you're good. And then 6 months later, like, you have 6 months to live. How could you let that happen? And I'll be like, bro, you told me it was fine.
You told me I was living.
I'm 17. I've never passed math. Not once. Not once in my life. I had a trigonometry professor Jesuit pray for me.
Fuck off.
Because I got a 2 out of 100 on one test, a 4 out of 100 on the next test, a 6 out of 100 on the next test, and I said, at least I'm doubling it every time. And he had to tell me, the 6 is not double of 4, right? And I was like, I know that now, father, but, whatever. So, like, yeah, I mean, fuck Chase, fuck, Sally Mae. Yeah, this is like my diss track now. I'm just going to go through all the banks.
Wait, like,
Bofa, you can put both of my nuts in your mouth.
Wait, before we remix this shit. Wait, so you couldn't get a job?
Yeah, no, I just couldn't get, and once again, I did not think that people really worked in TV. Like, I thought they were angels that were chosen somehow.
In some regards, that's not totally an accurate.
Yeah, that's called nepotism, but
Facts! Big facts!
Yeah, now we're remixing again. But no, like, I genuinely, like, I was obsessed with The Daily Show growing up, Colbert Report, all this stuff. And even after I had interned there, I was like, well, these jobs are going to go to the NYU people who studied it. Shout out to all the people I know who have great production lives now, Yeah.
Big heavy sigh.
Love you all. Yeah.
That's true in the acting world, too. Yeah. Big fan.
But, but to me, I never even gave myself the possibility that would happen for me.
Wow.
So I had a great creative writing teacher who's now a major author named Christina Baker Klein. I love her to death.
She was your creative writing teacher?
Yeah, she was for 3 semesters. So we became very close. And we still hang out. She's a fantastic human being. She really wanted me to get into a writing program. She wanted me to write a book about, like, my dad has an interesting story. You should have him on here. No, he's a horrible drunk. No, he's a great guy.
I'm totally going to book him.
Yeah. Yeah. He's got stories. Yeah. Jail stories are always fun.
Well, you mentioned the word homeless, so I feel like there's something there.
Yeah. Well, when you come from Cuba, they don't just give you a house.
What?
Yeah.
They don't? Did he swim? I need to know. Did he swim over?
No, he was a little baby.
Little baby?
Yeah. But
okay. Wait. We're getting off. Wait. Okay. So this creative writing teacher wanted you to get into a writing fellowship.
Yeah. And then I was like, I can't do that. I can't write a book. I don't want to be like, like I was. I came from a very, very poor background, Nobody else except for my brothers went to college, really. My mom got an associate's when we were kids, so it was always nice seeing her go to college on weekends.
Yeah.
But
and your knees hurt.
Yeah,
so
my knees were like I was always in pain. No.
There was no aspiration.
Yeah. So I just wanted, like, I didn't know what to do.
Yeah,
so fair. And then I would just see, like, my dad basically, like, he's been working as a superintendent his entire life and as a contractor and all that. And I was like, man, look at that. He's got health insurance and everything and 401k and that I haven't had since the job where they were doing cocaine in the morning in the bathrooms, which, they had a cocaine budget. So it was a legit company.
It's pronounced 401k.
401k. Yeah.
So you were just like, there's just not, the opportunity didn't exist.
Yeah.
So she says you should get into a writing fellowship. You're like, that's not possible.
Yeah. I was just like, and they're just like, no, just do it. And I'm like, this whole, it wasn't just anxiety and the ADHD and all these other things. It was just like, it was, I mean, I don't want to say imposter syndrome because, like,
that's part of it though.
Yeah.
Nick.
But like, yeah, sure. And I was just like, why would anybody just want to read my book or anything like that? And also, I haven't finished reading a book. Sure. Like, how am I going to write one? That's crazy. Also, people don't get rich off of it, no matter what Nancy Meyers movies tell you. So, I just never wanted to do any of that. After I was driving for Uber, she contacted me again with a book agent saying, like, write about being an Uber driver. And I was like, no, like, I don't know how to write a book. And finally, when I was doing all this Uber stuff, there was a producer from The Daily Show named Sarah Taxler who had stayed friends with me on Facebook. She gave me her futon. It's a great futon. Still have it. It's phenomenal. It was one of the greatest things that's ever been done in mankind. And
I hate futons. I have so many terrible stories from being too bored. No, I will never get on board with a futon.
You're
nor
right.
a bunk bed. I can't.
Well, yeah. I mean, but how are we going to do sleepovers? So
don't tell people about our lives, Nick.
Yeah. So she like I would just write things on Facebook that were just like, you know, funny jokes about, or jokes, let's not say funny jokes, about, you know, current events. And one day she had become the supervising producer for The Opposition with Jordan Klepper. And then she was like, hey, I'm starting up this new show and you're really funny and you know a lot about politics. Do you want to be a segment producer? And I was like, yeah.
Nick.
And then I was like, okay, so like,
look at all these women propping you
yes,
up. I am.
This is the reason why I'm a feminist, because it works well for me.
Yeah,
like it's not
about you.
ladies. It's not about you. Yeah. It's about
step off, ladies.
Yeah, but thank you. But thank you to all the women.
Your success is on our backs. You're
yeah.
welcome.
Yeah, no, I know who to thank. Yeah.
If anyone hasn't seen that show, I was obsessed with The Opposition. Like I thought it was so fucking clever and so well done.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of opinions. But so how long were you with the show?
For their entire 135 episode
What
run.
A gift.
Yeah, it was, man, you know, at the time it was hard to tell.
Yeah.
But then now looking back, the sheer amount of talent in that
It's insane.
writer's room, the
Had to have been.
producers,
It had to have been.
and also Jordan himself,
Oh, I love
and
Jordan.
also all of the correspondents, especially.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, I remember we had one segment that I'm not sure, I know we aired one of them, but I'm not sure the other one ever aired. We wanted just like a full act that we could just have in our back pocket.
Yeah.
And staff did call-ins without them having heard them before. And Jordan and one other of the correspondents, the best one, the one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The correspondent was Tim Baltz, who's now on Righteous Gemstones.
Wait, what is he in Righteous Gemstones?
I forgot the character's name.
I'm
but
obsessed with that
he's
show.
the guy who's married to the daughter.
He is so fucking flawless.
Yeah, Tim Baltz is the funniest person in
He
the
is
world.
flawless in that show.
Yeah.
He betas in every scene and it fucking...
He's phenomenal.
Immediately, audience, go watch every single second of The Righteous Gemstones. I laughed so hard at the pilot that I was like, oh, I'm actually crying real tears. And that has never happened to me before with TV.
Easily one of my favorite shows ever. Yeah.
It's flawless. Sorry. Go back to Tim.
So there was a time where we did this call-in segment and people just were like, hey, just ask the craziest questions you could come up with. So mostly studio people did it. And they would react. And it was an entirely improv act of television. And these guys just fucking crushed it.
Really?
It was so amazing. And I'm just like, oh, I'm like dealing with...
Genius level.
Yeah, with genius level of talent. I mean, everybody, all the writers there, the smartest, funniest people in the world. Wow. You know, like everybody else. Like when you were in the morning meetings, and I was a segment producer, so I was just teeing up videos and clips to. We really had to just keep our eye on the news. I was watching like 19 hours of Fox News every day. It was crazy.
You poor
like,
thing.
yeah, no, it makes you angrier. Like,
yeah, it sure does.
It definitely does. I'm like, oh, I can see why my aunt is the way she is. But yeah, no, so it was mostly that, but just seeing how the writers and it actually partly made me more scared of being a writer.
Really?
Because also the deadlines were insane.
Oh, sure.
Like, you know, for a 4 days a week, you know, daily show that comes on after the Daily Show, about like things that are happening in real time. Like I remember when Trump said to Justin Trudeau, didn't you burn down the White House? And I think that he said that at like noon or 1 p.m. We were like in the middle of rehearsal for the day, and we're like, I like just like slacked the studio. I'm like, guys, we got to change up the top of act. Like, come on, like. And as soon as they saw it, they're just like, oh my God. And I was like, you know, not for nothing. I've been waiting for a president who would finally call them out on that. War of 1812 doesn't get brought up enough.
That's right. Real current topics. Okay, so you do that for a while, and then after, and that show was magical, obviously. And then you went on after that to Jesus and Marrow?
Right, yeah. So after that, I still thought Okay, so TV is not a real career path for me because that's crazy.
My family would argue it's not for me either. Go ahead.
Like, because some of the writers have gone on to do really amazing things.
Yeah.
Like, some of the nicest people to me, like Chelsea Devontis, who's now, she was head writer of The Problem with Jon Stewart, and now another former opposition writer, Chris Asimovic. I think I remember she always said that the C's are the same, but I always fuck it up. But but she's white, so like, is it, anyway.
Can she get offended? No.
Yeah, not against me. Yeah. I mean, no, but yeah, there were some of the Asher Perlman, like, talk about somebody you should follow.
Wait, Asher was in the
he was
room?
a writer for the opposition. Yeah.
His Twitter is unbelievable.
Yeah, he's also just like one of the sweetest human beings on the planet.
I love hearing
He's
that.
very tall too, which is reassuring. He gives great hugs.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Wait, instead of your Rolodex flex that you're doing right now,
don't
get
worry,
back
I
to
dropped
you.
the name.
We're
What?
talking about you.
Yeah. What? Who?
Yeah,
Anyway.
exactly.
Yeah.
So but from there, you went to Jesus and Marrow.
Yeah.
And
So-
then that went on forever. And then from Jesus and Marrow, you're on to New Things Now.
Yes.
But so what's did I interrupt you? Were you about to say something?
No.
Oh, okay, great.
Why would I say something on a
I don't know.
podcast?
Yeah, why would you? Why are you here?
Yeah.
What's the weirdest
Why are you
thing
else?
then in all of these jobs? What's the weirdest thing you've been asked to do whilst on the clock? And I'm sure as a segment producer, you've been asked some weird shit.
Oh boy. Weird things to do while on the clock. Well, I mean,
The buying dildos is pretty much up there, but I don't want to tell your
all
story
right. So
for you.
there's a couple. I mean, literally anytime I was asked to lay on the ground, which was like more than once.
Wait, why?
For reference or just to see if I would lay on the ground if told to lay on the ground. I
Fuck
think
off.
like
Was that really why?
I don't think so, but looking back on it right now in real time, that's probably why. But like whatever, I'll do it.
And you did.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I mean, like there was we were prepping for Jesus and Marrow. We were coming back from a hiatus, and we wanted to do an intro video with like an overly dramatic previously on. And we had to shoot all these things, like, one of the writers proposed marriage to Jesus, and there was a lot of different stuff, and they needed a guy in a Mets jersey to be like, executed
Jesus.
on TV because they're Yankees fans and whatever. And
Are they? That's never been clear. Ever.
I
Next you're going to say they like the Knicks. I doubt it.
Yeah, I mean, no, like that would be horrible. But so we were just scouting locations to do this as quickly as possible, and trying not to move around as much as possible because wherever. So we found just like a dank hallway in the CBS Broadcast Center, and we didn't have enough time to hire an actor. And the Justin Tyler, who was also a writer from the opposition, who became a field director at DC Mayor, was like, "Yeah, Nick will do it." And I was like, yeah, I guess I will. And then sure enough, they're just like, they're like making up my face to be like I've been hit before and whatever. And then yeah. So
and they shoot you.
Well, yeah, and and there's like a whole thing where where they make me say, ooh, you know what? Where they make me say you're a bitch. And I'm like, I'm a bitch. And then say, I'm a lover. And I was like, what? And then they just did the whole, I'm a bitch. Yeah, it was great because that got me over 5 lines. So then I got SAG money for it.
I was just about to say,
thank you guys so
you're in my
much.
Union. Welcome.
Thank you.
We'll have you there. Thank you for stealing work from us that are on the hitting the pavement.
Hey, next
grinding.
time be in that. Yeah, be there. Yeah, exactly.
And offer to get shot in the face.
What's nepotism when you get yourself a gig?
Masturbation.
Yeah.
So well done, you.
Yeah, masturbated at work and got away with it.
Listen.
Oh, hey, that's horrific.
That's all it takes. Sign me up.
I mean,
kidding,
Kate, I don't know if I'm a man, so like I think that it's kind of par for the course.
Can we stop talking about your advantages?
Thank
it's getting
you.
old.
Yeah,
it's
sorry.
getting old. Shingles.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
What's an incident at any of these jobs? Now, this may have happened at Club Monaco, or this could have happened, I don't know, at the camp. I'm just trying to help jog your brain because you're bad at this. But was there
so bad.
You are. Was there an incident that made them ask to speak to your manager in any of these jobs where they were like, no more Nick Nunez, we're going above this person's head?
Okay. All right. So
chambered story. Can't wait. Here we go.
Yeah. No. I'll try to. All right. So the one Club Monaco incident that I got.
Can't wait.
So here's the thing. I think I'm polite-ish.
Yeah.
You know?
You're very meek.
Yeah, but like my issue is one of my one of the issues that isn't brought up to me constantly by other people, but I've noticed about myself. So, is it a real issue? Is that I just curse casually where other words would suffice, like in a way that's a little jarring sometimes. So I was at Club Monaco once again. If you listen to the first part, I was there to be a man who stays downstairs and does not talk to the people who shop there.
Also, Club Monaco, not like Club Med, actually a clothing store for my audience that's normal.
Can you be from a coast, please? Like, you're embarrassing yourself in front of me.
Keep going, you wise ass.
Yeah, so
you're basement boy.
Yeah, I'm a basement dweller, and they're like, and that's where you belong, and that's stuck with me, and that's why I have imposter syndrome. But anyway, thanks for therapy talk on Sirius XM. But no, so I'm upstairs like stocking something. Not supposed to be up there for long. I'm gonna be up and gone, and a woman comes up to me, and she has a tag out for a shirt from Club Monaco, and she's like, "Excuse me," and I was like, "Yes," and she was like, "The size." It's extra small. And I was like, uh-huh. And she was like, but next to it, like there's a line, and next to it says TP. What does the TP next to XS mean? And I was like, I don't know. And she was like, it also says S and then P next to it. Do you think that the P means petite and the XP, or no, TP means très petite? And I didn't mean this as mean as it came off. But I said to her, if you know, then why the fuck would you ask me? And immediately one of the upstairs people just jumps right in and is like, Nick, they need you back downstairs. Can I help you with whatever? But I didn't mean to sound that mean. I just earnestly, why the fuck would like?
It's such a Manhattan thing. You didn't even mean fuck aggressive. It just means the.
I was just really confused. But like, I was like, you solved the mystery. Congrats, Nancy Drew. But like, why are you bringing me? And now I'm kind of happy because I'm like, oh yeah, now I know it. But like, it's fine. But like, seriously, like I'm a downstairs person. Don't bring your theories to me. Yeah.
I'm a troll. Don't ask me about the bridge.
Yeah.
Wait, so did she then say, I need to speak to a manager?
No, but she had an angry face on, and I was told later on, do not speak to customers anymore. Like, it was just like an end of day, just like, all right, so we did great. Quick note, nobody in particular is being, but if you work
in
downstairs,
the basement, you stay there.
Don't talk to customers. And I was like, I looked around, and there are like 6 people there, and one of them works in the whatever. I'm like, all right, you could point a finger.
Like, it's
like
me.
We figured it out.
Yeah, we know it's me.
Like, yeah, exactly. It's just like, that's like if there's just one person who just comes in, just like,
yeah.
Never mind.
Yep,
I'm just like, yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was there an incident where there was an actual exchange of like, I need to speak to the person above you, or was that the only one of like, you're being pushed back down, like nobody wants to hear you?
You know what? Only in TV sometimes.
But that
people.
happens.
Yeah, but like when I worked at Diesel, I moved from studio to the field.
Oof.
And
field's rough. Field means out and about, folks.
Yeah. It's like, where you go to touch grass, which is something that people on Twitter tell me I need to do all the time. Where am I going to find it in New York? Gotcha, dumbass.
Bam.
Yeah. So they're just in TV, like once you start doing locations and all that, and somebody wants to ask for more money at the last second, then suddenly they're just like, let's speak to somebody above you. But it's amazing how quickly you become empowered by your superiors when they don't want to talk to people. They're just so like, accurate. Actually, your point person to talk to on this is going to be Nick. So he kind of runs things around here. Please don't email me anymore, which is fantastic because they're like, yeah, what's up? Like, yeah, exactly.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay. Has a Yelp review ever affected your job or employment in any of these jobs?
No.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
This is that. I felt like no, because you haven't bartended, so that's kind of.
I know. Yeah.
What was the last straw? Now shingles we know is the answer for the door person job. Was there a last straw at any, like maybe whatever got you out of Club Monaco? Unless you already told this and I wasn't listening. But like, was there a last straw that got you out of any of these jobs?
Yeah. There was Now I'm wondering, is this... No, because you know what? It has a happy ending for them. The shitty advertising job that I started off my professional career with.
The cocaine job.
Yeah, the cocaine job, where we sold cocaine. This is an ad for cocaine.
Go back and listen to part 1 if you can, folks, but it's already aired. So,
so I worked for this shitty online advertising company where I was a copywriter, and there was a girl that I always was like in love with, but she was a friend, but not that great of a friend, or whatever. She actually would have been great for the job that we were hiring for, so we hired her, and then shortly thereafter, she decided to start dating me, which I was thrilled about.
That's amazing.
You know, high-fived a lot of people. It was a banner day. When she started off at the job, she said, "I don't want anybody to know that we're dating," and I said, "Okay," because like technically I was like one rung above her, but like that didn't mean anything.
Okay.
And also, she wanted to make friends on her own. She was moving from out of town to be in the city. Yeah, with me.
Love.
Yeah. Then she wanted to go out with coworkers without me there because she wants to form her own friendships.
Red flag.
Anyway, she starts sleeping with 2 of my coworkers.
Well, like, of course.
Who are
Predictable.
roommates.
Oh my God, you dumb woman.
Yeah. One of whom is in a relationship and is 20 years older than she is.
Yowza.
And the other one is like madly in love with her.
Sir.
And it's just like, I don't care that she's sleeping with my roommate, whatever. And all the while, I'm her boyfriend. Yeah. Which at this point, like queen is honorary title. So I'm going, So like, meanwhile, when we show up to work, she's like, no hand holding within like 2-3 blocks of the building. You know, like definitely no PDAs.
Nick,
in front
how'd
of whatever.
you not know she was trying to run a scam on you?
Oh, you know, I was figuring it out actually pretty rapidly, but just like climate change, I just was watching as we did nothing. I was like, I'm going to wait till this becomes a real life tsunami for me. So she's
like, no hand holding within 3 blocks of the building.
Yeah, exactly. I was
what
like,
other weird rules did she have?
Yeah, just like no PD, like, you know, things that actually made sense if you didn't want to make it seem like your boyfriend got you a job.
Yeah, which she did.
So yeah, so now she's going out with people on our team because we work in the same department for drinks, and like my boss is trying to hook her up with the second roommate that she's hooking up with who's in love with her.
Your boss
because
knowing
my
that this
boss
is your
does
girlfriend?
not know that she's my girlfriend.
Oh my God, Nick.
So at this point, only like my closest work friend knows, and she's been there a couple of times. And I was like, "Hey, do I have anything to worry about?" And she was like,
100%. That's the only.
She was just like, "I don't want to be a snitch or anything, but like, let's just say, if she were my significant other, like, she hasn't cheated on you that I've seen, but I wouldn't be happy with any of it." So I was just
honest.
like, call her out on it. She would gaslight me a little bit, you know, just a touch. Like, you know, it's for women now too. So
Nick loves a good abuser. I mean, this is your whole. I'm calling this episode "Loves to be Abused."
I mean, I prefer to refer to it as a term "loves a girl from Philly," but.
Shout out to our audience in Philadelphia. It's not all of y'all. He's not coming for y'all. He's coming for this girl.
Am I?
Am I not?
Am I not?
Okay,
am I not?
Okay,
anyway.
okay.
Yeah. Okay, no. Love Philadelphia. Thanks for the Constitution.
Phillies or whatever.
Yeah.
The bell. Also the bell.
Yeah. Shout out Bells. Big fan. Let freedom ring, y'all.
Oh my God, I'm losing so many listeners.
Yeah. So at this point, like eventually she decides to break up with me. And then I'm finding out.
What a fucking hero.
A hero amongst, whatever. Then I'm finding out amongst like coworkers that she is hooking up with these 2 guys. And then like, it just becomes a weird work environment. And I hate it because she's showing up now, decides to end it with one of the roommates and is now in a relationship with the guy who works on the first floor, whoever. And they're walking to work.
Holding hands,
like making out in front of the building at lunch when I'm going in and out.
What up?
And like eating lunch together at his desk and whatever, like all this shit. And I remember right after the breakup, and she's like really open now with this other guy. Like I'm pissed for a few reasons, but we all go out for drinks. And by the way, this is my early 20s, so like I'm not proud of any of this. Like any of this story is like, this is just like a cautionary tale. Don't
follow your lead.
Yeah, don't do what I've done. Any of it. Yeah, any of it. Unless you're any of the things that I am, then keep going. You're great. But coworkers don't date them. So, well, it actually worked out for these 2. They got married. So
fuck off.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
I know, right?
Idiot.
Yeah, well, yeah, but like, and actually, so here's the things that were the last straws. Number 1, the guy. Huge Denver Broncos fan. They happen to make the Super Bowl when the Super Bowl is in Giant Stadium in New Jersey. He spends $10,000 on tickets, which is, flex, I guess. spends $10,000 on tickets to see the Broncos play the Seahawks. Now, if we have any football fans in here, they got fucking smoked. The Broncos got slaughtered, and I was thrilled.
Of course.
Knowing this guy spent $10,000 to
Watch
stay
his
there,
team
but
lose.
people who aren't from New York don't know that the biggest local story that night was that the New Jersey Transit completely failed to bring anybody back for like overnight in a lot of cases. So he showed up to work late the next day because he was trapped in New Jersey after seeing his team get slaughtered in the Super Bowl that he paid $10,000 to go see. So when he walks in the door, my desk is right by the door at this time, and I walk in and I'm like, I'll use his real name. I was like, Trevor, how about them Broncos?
No, you didn't. Good for you, Nick.
I got like called up by my manager in HR just being like, why would you say something so
because
mean?
he was fucking your girlfriend.
And I was just like, point of order, he was fucking my girlfriend. Like, you know, I said something about, I wasn't like, hey, that's what you get for fucking my girlfriend. I just said, how about them Broncos? Which, by the way,
innocuous. It's
not
sports.
like, it's fucking sports. Like, I didn't tell you to spend $10,000 on fucking tickets.
That's you.
But the fact that you did it means you had it. So, like, shut up. Like, you were also able to afford to marry her, which, again, mazel. But I just love, you know, being the last minority before a girl from Philly marries a white guy named Trevor. I mean, and shout out to, like, really, really nice guy. But,
no, he's not.
I mean,
No.
he didn't. He knew that she had a boyfriend, but she made up a whole backstory.
Okay, whatever. Fine.
Yeah.
So that was the last.
So, yeah, no.
So you quit after that?
So actually, I volunteered to be fired so I could get a severance because they told me.
Wait, based off of this incident?
No, well, actually, no. The incident that was the last straw was that after all of that, we were all out for drinks. And I see her making out with this guy in front of me, and I'm drunk. So I walk up to her, and my friend tries to stop me. I'm like, nah, it's going to be nice. And I said, hey, I don't think you're a very nice person. And she says, I don't give a fuck what you think about me, because she's wasted and she's from Philly.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, fuck you then. I turn around and she punches me in the back of the head. And
That's assault, brother.
And not if you're not a snitch. So
Nick, you should.
So my boss comes up to me, still not knowing that we had dated, and says, what did you say to that poor girl to make her hit you? And I burst into tears, and I told her the whole story, and she said, like, why don't you take tomorrow off? And then a couple of weeks later, they were doing layoffs, and they said, look, we're either going to have to lay off the girl I was dating and another copywriter or lay you off. And I said, I don't even want to fucking be here.
Great.
So, yeah, I cleaned out my desk under the supervision of a, like, 5'3" guy with grease back hair and a really Italian leather jacket from Staten Island.
Amazing.
And right as I, like, left the door and he was behind me because he was security, I turned around and looked at him and I said, I loved you in Goodfellas. And he said, what? And I said, what? And then, you know, and I went outside, and this is true. Went outside, was immediately shoved by a homeless person, crossed the street, and got shit on by a bird.
Wow,
So,
what a day.
Yeah.
What a day.
Yeah. And it was my college reunion that night, too. So it was a
God.
real banner day.
Let me guess that you were very sober at that reunion.
Oh, yeah. I actually did permanent damage to my left ankle. Thanks. Shout out Fordham.
Wait, where'd you go to school? What was it?
Fordham University, third best in New York.
Third best in New York City.
Yeah.
Okay, so
They can't argue with that, right?
They really
Yeah.
can't. I mean,
Bring in Taylor Swift to do your commencement speech, and then we'll talk.
then we'll talk.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you ever told a customer to fuck off besides the lady where you put fuck in the sentence?
Yeah.
But have you ever said like get the fuck out of my face or fuck off or any version
Have I
thereof?
ever done that? Oh, no. I'm so
all right.
soft. But
No, that's good.
there was a guy at the ice skating rink where we only accepted MasterCard and Visa, and he was a wealthy guy who obviously was trying to impress his much younger date.
So he bought out
And
a black Amex?
Casually dropped the black Amex, and I really got to savor the moment where I said we don't accept American Express, and he had to make her pay for the ice skate.
Yes.
Yeah. She left her husband for nothing. This is an
Wow.
ad for leaving your husband.
Wow. Was that real? Would she really leave her husband? Or you're
No,
guessing?
I'm guessing. How would I know?
I don't know. People
That's
talk.
That's a fair point.
I mean-
people do talk.
And they'll tell you things you don't want to know.
That's a fact.
Which ice skating rink was it?
It's the one in Bryant Park that nobody knows
I
about.
love that
yeah,
one.
Great views
Way
of
better.
the Empire State Building.
Yeah.
Better rates.
Yep.
and
Less
also
crowded.
closer to a really nice public bathroom, one of New York's very few.
Oh, I didn't know that. It's also close to, well, there used to be a Cold Stone Creamery very close to there that I used to get a lot of ice cream from and walk to Bryant Park and watch free movies in the summer. Because
Was it the
poor
one
as fuck.
in Times Square?
Sure was.
Oh yeah, man.
mean-
I
Yeah. I
Yeah.
could go there a lot.
yeah.
Lot.
When I was at summer camp in Midtown, we used to go there a lot just to see people with strong forearms and be like, one day.
And make them sing.
Yeah.
All right. And do you tip?
Oh yeah.
How much?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Fuck off. No, you do not.
I try to tip as much as possible, depending on how much I put my bartender through.
Okay. Do you
Yeah.
ever not tip?
There was only once where a cab driver was clearly taking me the wrong way.
Oh, and being a dick.
And then being a dick about it, and I didn't tip.
I wouldn't
and
have
then
either.
also I didn't tip because I just left the cab and just didn't pay for any of it.
Oh, good job, you. Even
Yeah.
bigger flex.
Yeah.
Because did you say to him, hey, you're taking me the wrong way?
Yeah, and this was when I was in high school, and he was like, "Hey, you don't know what you're talking about." I was like, "Hey, I know when somebody's trying to hit every red light possible to make that meter go up. So how about you go on the fucking West Side Highway?" And it was like, "Oh no," and I was like, "Bye."
Good for you.
Yeah,
Did
I
you leave
would-
your backpack in the cab, though?
No, I
Did you?
didn't.
Good
God,
job, you.
I
no,
am
that's
from
better.
New York. Yeah,
Yeah, you're
gosh.
smart. Okay.
Yeah, better than you.
And last question in this section, and I could talk to you for 6 more hours, but I'm trying to wrap this up. Okay.
She sees how much I'm sweating.
And I mean, the couch is wet.
It's so wet.
Give me an example of the worst customer you interacted with, and or an archetype of who the worst customer would actually be, or the worst type.
Oh man. Well, I guess in a lot of ways I'm the worst customer possible. I bump into so much. God, yeah. I talk aggressively with my hands. I've knocked over many glasses at pubs while sober.
Ooh,
It's just
Nick.
tough. It's a tough look. 'Cause I think it's a depth perception problem or just a me problem.
Yeah, sounds personal.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
That's the worst. Okay. Well, now, folks, we're finally going to move on to the good stuff. We hope you saved room for dessert. What's the nicest thing a customer has done for you whilst you were working?
Ice skating rink. They gave me a $100 tip that I was not allowed to take, and he said, "Look around, no one's looking." And
What a homie.
I tucked it into my pants, and I was like, and then on the way out, he turned around, gave me the old finger point, and
Wink
I
and a
went
gun?
back. Yeah, wink and a gun.
What a fucking hero.
Yeah, that was like 2 days' salary, right? Like 2.5. Really.
Yeah,
back
that's a
then,
lot of,
yeah.
well, and without taxes, that's
Yeah.
like a 6-day salary. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's a really sweet, and made sure that you could get, that's a homie.
Yeah.
I love those types
Yeah.
of people.
Wherever he is, I hope he's doing well.
Me too. Best tip you've ever gotten, I would assume, was that one then.
Yeah.
All right, great. And then what's the best time you've ever had at work?
Best time I ever had at work was, well, literally anything in TV.
That's what I was gonna say,
yeah,
probably
like,
TV
you know,
related. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I
yeah,
get
anything in TV. There was, you know what, the moment that summed it up for me where I finally was just like, oh, maybe this is like a career and maybe it's like life or whatever was, it was in the middle, at December was in the middle of the most hellish 2-day stretch because we had a shoot that wrapped at midnight and then we had a
Call time
7 a.m.
before.
call the next day.
What do they call that?
for
A clopen in restaurants, but that's brutal in
Yeah,
TV.
but here's the thing, and like I feel so bad for everybody else, but I was in charge of finding all through because it was a late night shoot, a morning shoot, and an afternoon shoot. I was producing all three, and I found locations for all three. So I made all three as close as possible to my house.
You're so thoughtful.
Yeah. So everybody from Brooklyn was like, I can't believe that we have to come from like the Upper West Side or whatever. And I was like, yeah, man, look, it was the only place. And
It's
they're
the
like,
only place in
it's
the
like, guys, it's the
existence.
only place. So I was like, why don't you become a location manager then? But
Fuckers.
anyway, no. So there was a moment where it was like 6:30 in the morning, and we were filming with Lin-Manuel Miranda, and we were gonna do the sketch where we made a
and these
Broadway
name
thing.
drops.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, I mean, we're
Never
both,
heard of that guy. Who is
yeah, well, he's one of two famous Puerto
Puerto
Rican
Rican.
people. Yeah, it's me and then him. Sorry, J Lo, but after you talked all that shit about Shakira, you're done.
Agreed.
You're on notice. You're on notice. You're on notice.
You're
I
on
mean,
notice.
she's
Yeah,
still,
she don't notice.
she's still, I mean.
She's doing some heavy flexes with
Yeah,
a really
I mean-
not great guy.
I mean, have you noticed that ever since she said "Let's get loud" at the inauguration, this country went downhill? I mean, come on. I'm just saying, you're on notice, J Lo. But Lin-Manuel, he was on stage warming up on the piano, and he was done performing Hamilton. I never got to see it.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, I've heard. Yeah.
Did you know?
Yeah, I've heard. I did the lottery for a while. I was that guy. And never won because the lottery is rigged against people of color.
Accurate.
Yeah, I mean, all lotteries, especially the one from that book that we all read as kids that's fucked up. But he started warming up because he had accidentally slammed his finger in a door earlier that day. So he wanted to see if he could play. And he started playing the song Burn from Hamilton on the piano.
So good.
And there were about like 5 people on the stage. It was my boss, the director of the piece, and then him. And then I'm just like in the back, and I'm just like kind of sitting there listening to it after being exhausted. And I'm just like, wow, this is happening in front of your face. Like in a room, like
with
I was
4
like,
other people.
The only other people who get a private thing of, you know, Hamilton from Lin-Manuel Miranda these days, like you have to be Barack Obama at the White House. And
Accurate.
I'm like, and I'm getting this. So
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That takes the cake. Okay. What's the best lesson you've learned from working in customer service?
Ooh, it was a lesson I got from somebody not in the industry, but it was a dear close friend of mine who I met at one of my handyman jobs or whatever. We were going for a walk and we passed by the building that I used to doorman at, and she never knew that I was a doorman. And at that time, coming from New York, going to college there, and being broke all the time, like it was a tough, you know, you go to the bars and the clubs that, you know, were cool at the time, and you're poor and you're just like, oh, what am I even doing here? And I pointed at the building and I said, you know, I used to be a doorman there. And she said, oh, I never knew that. And I said, yeah, I didn't want to tell you. Like, you're so cool. Like, it's embarrassing. And she grabbed me and looked at me in both my eyes and said, never be ashamed about how you make your money. And like, it was, I forgot exactly how it was specifically like, don't be ashamed to work for your money.
Wow.
Because, you know, the people that I got so much judgment from and like felt so self-conscious for haven't worked a day in their life.
Wow.
And she was just like, you work for your money. You should be proud of that.
Oh, that makes me want to cry. That's so lovely.
Yeah. And it's like, it's stuck with me ever since, because it was just like, you know what? Like, especially now when, you know, even rich people who've never felt it before, like, hey, aren't things expensive now? Yeah. It's just like, it's really gotten me through this whole, like, all the bullshit that comes along with just trying to survive in this world.
Oh, what's saccharine? What sweet saccharine sentiment and alliteration. All right. And final question.
Yes.
What is one piece of advice you would give to customers who interact with customer service workers?
You know, don't treat them too much with kindness and politeness. Like, that's still just a thing that I like. God, yeah. I don't know. Just don't be a dick. Just don't be a dick. You know when you're being a dick.
You 100% know.
You 100% know. And if you feel like you're going to tell somebody in your life this story later on in the day about how you were a dick to somebody who was like, well, I didn't get what I want, so this is what I told them.
You're in the
Just
wrong.
know that the person that you're telling doesn't think you're cool. You're not cool. You're an asshole. You're giving everybody all the ammo they need to stay away from you for the rest of your life, which is something that I know that you want.
Ooh,
so maybe this is good advice for you.
This is really
be more
good
of a
advice.
dick. Yeah.
Thank you. You know, I really would benefit. My career would benefit. And really, like, you know, there's a person that I nanny for and who asked me to clean her kitchen ceiling fan whilst I was watching her child because she didn't have time to get to it. And I did it. And this was like a month ago. So like, I definitely need to be more of a dick. Like the answer is a crisp and immediate no in the future. But like, wow, at the time I was just like, okay.
You should just give them something sharp to play with while you're doing that. So when they get hurt, you just like, do you see what happens when I take on others?
Wow, what a way to end. What a way to end, Nick. So Nick, how can people get in touch with you? You know, where are you? I said you were kind of funny. So where can they see you be kind of funny?
Oh, you could just mostly find me on Twitter.
The Twitters?
Yeah, at Blocktimus Prime. That's BL. Yeah, I know. It used to be Stud McMuffin Top, right? It's gotten better.
Blocktimus Prime is actually better. I like that better. It's a more confident choice.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, Blocktimus Prime. It's
it.
Spelled BLOCKTIMUS Prime.
How do you spell Prime?
I'm not going to do that.
Oh, you should.
You think I know how to spell Prime? I only majored in English from Fordham University.
What university?
Fordham.
Number one in Manhattan? Number one. The gold medal. Gold medal, folks.
I mean, if Columbia and NYU don't let you in.
And I mean, it's not like you passed trigonometry ever. So
Ever.
I
Not
won't make
once.
you spell. I won't make you. All right. Well, Nick, it was a pleasure. And folks,
Thank you.
we're going to drop your checks now. Thank you so much for listening. If you want to help us out here at Service from Hell, we'd love to have you subscribe, rate, and or review the podcast wherever you listen. It will help us reach more people that need to be schooled on the art of being kind and will be catharsis for those of us still working in the industry. If you want to get in touch with us here directly at Service from Hell, send us your receipts to servicefromhellpodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. Remember, if you can't afford to tip, you can't afford to go out. So don't be garbage and be good to people. It's easier that way. Nick, this was a disaster.
It was so bad.
What a wreck. Like, I'm going to have to just delete most of it. Yeah. So if this is a 5-minute episode, we'll be lucky. Yeah, you didn't understand the assignment at all. So,
well, it's always nice to sweat in your presence.
The number of men who have said that to me. I am so charmed. It's overwhelming. Ladies and gentlemen, and all of the in between. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you, Sirius, for having us on. We will see y'all next week. Good night.